Something at the bottom of the drawer. Sometimes you take it out and it's expired, it's gone off, it messes up the food. So we'll see.
It will depend, on what kind of thing we are cooking. It's like I never pick for myself. I always pick with the team as well. So,
Broken Blades. Let's talk about playoffs really quickly. There's been so much discussion on best of ones, so much discussion on really all of the teams not hitting their limits, their ceilings. You guys have kicked the shit out of everyone. Okay, I can't say that, I'm the host. Where did this extra gear come from? Because even by G2 standards, you guys are steamrolling everybody.
For us, we knew that we started the split off slowly, right? And I think the biggest, for me, upset of why the format is BO1 is not because it's BO1, but it's because most of the other regions are just playing Fearless, right? So in that aspect, we are losing on experience on how to deal with that Fearless. But we've been working hard, and it's been going great so far. So I'm excited for Sunday.
I'm happy to hear that. And I'll give you a quick update, Skewmont.
Yeah.
We're doing a podcast for G2 called HopEUm. We bring all of the G2 co-streamers together.
Yeah.
Okay. Skyarts, Cultus, Solar, Sendo, Breeze. Okay. Yeah. Every single one of them tried to come up with some version of Skew Goat, Skew Mongoat, Goat Skew. They couldn't. Dude, where was this Skewmont? Because these last 7 games, it's just been about you and taking over the show.
Yeah, obviously, really happy with my performance individually coming into these playoffs. But I think the work we've been putting as a team, most importantly, was just great. I think everybody just came on the same. We were more on the same page, in game, which was not the case in the regular season. I feel like we were way more connected in what we wanted to achieve during the games, and we were just more aware of what is gonna happen in the next few minutes. And I think it just changed a lot. And obviously, I think in Fearless we are pretty smart about what we want to play, and I think it just brings us a pretty good advantage.
I can't wait to see them on Sunday because there's some cheeky smiles from the boys. I've watched them enough to know they're cooking something. Last question for each of you. As we are having this conversation, it looks like GX are about to get written off the map. Yeah. KC are smashing them. So let's assume KC win. KC or Koi, who do you rather beat on Sunday?
Rather beat?
Yeah.
Probably KC, because Canada took our revenge against Koi in the summer finals. So it's 1-1. But we still didn't really take our revenge against KC, if that makes sense. So I'll be happy playing against them. Obviously, playing against Koi on the Spanish stage is really hype as well. So honestly, I don't really mind. But I think the logic would tell me KC, because we just lost against them 3-0 in the last winter finals.
I really love that you're holding on to that grudge. That's awesome. Same question.
Yeah, same answer for me. I think the KC finals, we performed the worst out of every finals that we lost against. I guess there was 2 finals that we lost only. So I also feel really bad inside. I still want to beat them. But first they have to make it, right? Yeah. They have to earn the right to play us, yes, for us to take this chance. So, but we will take on both teams, whether it's Koi or KC, we are ready for both.
Listen, pretty much everybody has been expecting G2 to win from the beginning. Very last question, BB. I've been fortunate enough to have watched and commentated and seen you as a player growing into the leader that G2's come to know. This is a podcast primarily for G2 Army as well as European fans that are expecting you to represent us in Europe. What do you say to the fans in the community who have been behind you and the G2 team?
Well, I think describing G2 is kind of when you go to a theme park and there's this one big roller coaster that everybody wants to go on. I think that's G2, G2 has very high highs. We also have lows, but in a roller coaster, it goes crazy, and I think that's G2. And I think that's our story. And thank you for following us all this time. Me, Skew, Caps, Labrov, all the boys, obviously, every iteration of G2. It's been great. And I think we will create something great this year.
I love it. And let's not forget a big shout out to Mr. Falco as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much. GG. Get back to scrims. We'll see you later. Bye. 2 things I absolutely love about that interview. Number 1, both Broken Blade and Skewmont said, listen, we've already embarrassed Koi, we don't want to beat them again. We would rather get revenge against Karmine Corp. That's explicitly word for word what they were hoping for. Their wish came true. As a reminder, I mentioned it just before we went to that interview. We will be speaking to Caps much later on towards the end of the hour. So make sure you stick around to hear what he has to say there as well. And of course, one of the things I want to mention, when we listened to BB and Skew, and I spoke to them before off camera, after, when I spoke to Roman and Caps, they all had this very cheeky grin about finals. They had this energy, confidence, cockiness. I don't really know what the right word would be. So I don't know what they're cooking, but I really, really like Broken Blade's analogy. It's a roller coaster. I am hoping, obviously here with HopEUm, hey, that the roller coaster is going to be on the exciting parts and not the scary down. I don't know which part would be disappointing in a roller coaster, the down or the up. Regardless. We're going to move on for a little bit. This brings us to the end of the interviews that I did on Friday. And that means I want to turn our attention to Saturday. Now, before we look at the matches, we did get a very, very special interview. I was incredibly thankful because I reached out to the team here on the ground who are organizing the event, putting on the production, bringing the teams out. And I said, look, I'm here with G2's podcast. I'd really love to do some player interviews. And I particularly want to speak to somebody from Giant X to hear what they thoughts and felt, and frankly, celebrate the fact that they placed fourth. And to a little bit of my surprise, Lot not only agreed, but he was actually quite excited to sit down and chat. So we're going to bring you our fourth video of the day. It's another interview. And this one's going to tug on your heartstrings just a little bit. Let's listen to what Lot has to say. I am joined by Lot from Giant X. First, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I know it's a bit of a tough weekend with how it's played out. Let's start by asking how you're feeling when you think about yesterday's series.
I think I'm feeling kind of disappointment because I really believe we can win at least 2 games because I think 1 and 3rd game was really winnable, but we couldn't manage to win. So I'm kind of sad on this part, but I'm really proud of the boys because, for example, the 2nd game was really tough, and normally we would just drop the 3rd game instantly, but we played the 3rd game out and we had good over the 3rd game, but we couldn't finish it, we couldn't end the game.
It was heartbreaking. I actually predicted a Giant X win. I wanted to see GX versus Koi. That was what I was really hoping for here in Barcelona. Let's talk a little bit about the crowd support, because if you watched on stream, GX got so many cheers and KC has just been booed, as you'd expect. How does that feel for you when you're standing on stage?
I mean, to be honest, it feels so good when people are just supporting you, and when you do good play, they're just cheering, It's so insane. But it's kind of, on the other part, it's sad because you want to win for the crowd also so much. But when you are not enough for the crowd, it's kind of sad because you are kind of disappointed that you let the fans down. But we really wanted to win. We really played with our hearts, but it was not enough,
I want to talk a little bit about, obviously, placing 4th. But before I do that, I saw the Giant X social media accounts. They had a tweet which really stuck out in my head. It's we are always the underdogs. And I think that resonated with me because it was a little bit of a surprise win, maybe, to qualify for playoffs. Entirely deserved. But how does it feel being always the underdog? And do you think that's fair?
I think it's fair. I think with the games against Navi, I think we didn't deserve. I think, for example, Navi could have been against us, White could have been here. I think we didn't deserve with the performance that we showed. I think we didn't play better than Summer from last year. So I really don't believe that we deserved top 4. I think we were just lucky to be here, but we really wanted to show up that what we are capable of, and we really hope we can just show what's our true potential in Sibling and Summer.
I tell you what, the strength of character it takes to be that honest. Thank you. It means a lot. I was looking at all the results for Giant X, and there's a number of 4th place finishes, 3rd, 4th, in groups and playoffs, things like there's a saying that we say in some other sports in English that you're the benchmark team. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if you want to break into the top 3, they have to be better than Giant X, and there's a lot of teams that aren't. Do you think it's fair to call you the benchmark team, that there's always teams below you, and unfortunately, for the last 2 years, there's been teams above you?
Yeah, I think it's fair. It's fair, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the future, right? LEC versus best of ones. I hated it. I didn't want best of ones. I want best of series. It was much more exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Let's look ahead to spring. Let's look ahead to summer. How is Giant X going to grow from here?
I think from the start, we always wanted to play best of 3. I think best of 3 format is the best for the teams overall because you have so much space to improve, you can play 1 game into a best team and 1 game into a medium team, and there is a other choice that you can play 3 games into a best team and 3 games into a medium team, and from the both games you can just grow much more,
Yeah.
Maybe it takes a longer time, but we are here to improve and show our best, and we just want to play the game. So I think the best of three format will be the best for our region, and as a team, I think we always wanted to play best of threes. I think we are really good on best of threes also.
I tell you what, again, from a lot of the prep and the research I've been doing, Ginex is always a name that's respected, right? It's a name that no matter if I speak to casters, co-streamers, players, it's always like, hey, you can't piss around with this team. As somebody that's now played in the IC for 2 years, is now making a bit of a name for himself, how do you reflect on the last 2 years with GX?
I think it's good. Like playing in GX is really good, and seeing the fans and like playing good. Maybe not playing good, but like being the benchmark team, you know.
Yeah.
So, like from that we cannot go back. You know, we just need to improve more, and we want to make sure that we can be a top 3 team in our region. So we will try our best to be top 3 and just play a good league. You know.
Yeah.
We don't want to, like, for example, yesterday we don't want to get 3-0 slump.
Yeah.
At least we could have win 2 games, and we just want to do this. You know.
I'll tell you this, not all 3 zeros are the same.
Yeah.
Because game 1 and game 3, I think you could have won. I think maybe you should have won, right? So I don't think it's fair to say it's a stomp. I don't think you were stomped. The scoreline looks like it, but it's not. Okay, one last thing. Again, I want to say thank you. Would you like to give a shout out to the fans, to people who are cheering on, and people who are hoping that GX will step up to the podium next split?
Of course, I mean, we are in Barcelona, and like since I came here, like I only see the fans supporting us, cheering for us. When I go even in the stage, the walkthrough, it was so insane, you know, like the people cheering for us. It wants make you to play the league and be better, you know, like it's so insane. So we want to play a good league, we want to show up good league, and we want to have good results, you know. And for that, having fans and cheering for us is really insane. And I hope you guys will keep doing it. I hope we will improve and give you guys better results.
Thank you so much. I can really feel the passion. I can really feel the hunger. I'm going to say thank you again. Please enjoy the rest of the weekend. And back to me, I guess, from me. Bye.
All right.
Loved that conversation with Lot. Huge thank you to Giant X. Huge thank you to Lot. I think he was very vulnerable. I think there was a real sense of disappointment in how Friday played out, especially game 3. You know, they had the gold lead, they had the potential. And I'm going to defend the statement that I made in that interview. You know, I called Giant X like a benchmark team. And since I had that conversation, I've been trying to think about how better to explain it, because I didn't think I did a great job explaining it a lot. But I think the way I want to say it is, like, since the end of 2024, Giant X have placed 5th, 6th, in pretty much every playoff, every iteration of the LEC, until Friday, where they placed 4th. So 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th. In order to break into the top 4, in order to break into the podium, in order to be a potential champion, you have to get past Giant X. And 4 out of 5 teams, at least, every single split since the end of 2024 have not been that. So I'm intrigued to see where the roster goes. I'm intrigued to see what happens for the rest of the year. And I'll just say thank you again to Lot for being so sincere with me. Now, let's bring the energy up just a little bit more, because we're going to start turning our attention to Saturday. We're going to start talking a lot more about MKOI versus Casey. Before I do that, while the arena behind me is very quiet right now, I kind of want to show you a little bit of the energy. I want to bring some of the extra noise that you actually get when you're here. So if you haven't been on the concourse of one of these arenas, I want to take a look at my next video package. This is going to be my 5th one. We're going to show off some of the small activations and a little bit of what the vibe's like, stepping into the lights and the noise. Whenever you come to one of these live events, there's always activities, activations, sponsors that are here. Kick-Out booth is awesome. This is where everybody's going to be making their own signs, taking them into cheer. You make new friends. You get to make fun of people in Fnatic jerseys. Take a look. Haha, loser. And one of the coolest things is this experience. If you've never been to a stadium or an arena, when you walk inside and see the lights and see the stage, it is just awesome. I know I'm trying to like chill and get you to come to events, but do it. Just look at this stage and how awesome absolutely everything is. We're here on Friday night. Giant X are about to get taken out by KC. Honestly, they haven't played particularly well, but Koi versus Casey is the most likely outcome at this point in time on that stage. And whoever wins that gets to lose to G2. Here's another field report from me. You can literally hear how I'm yelling. You can literally hear once I stepped inside. I know. I've seen the comments. I've seen the photos. I've seen what people are saying. There are still several thousand fans here that are hella loud. Hella loud. And it is deafening. I have another video later on in the show where you can actually hear the crowd cheering and hoping that MCOI are going to do well. But that's a little while away. Let's turn our attention to Saturday and how the bracket looks. That's the word I'm looking for. How does the bracket look at the beginning of Saturday's series? Obviously, Giant X have now been eliminated, and it's Koi versus KC, both teams who have been defeated by G2, right? G2 2-0'd KC in the upper bracket, G2 3-0'd Koi in the upper bracket. That's why G2 won the finals, and now it's Koi KC. Let's jump out of this bracket and just tell you exactly where the predictions lie, right? Can we get to the series? Before we saw Friday, right? Before we saw Friday, Sendo, Solar, Keltis, and myself all voted for Koi. The only two people who said that KC were going to even make it and win on Saturday was Brice and Skyart. So that does paint a little bit of a picture after seeing the matches on Friday of how, look, KC did well. They punished Giant X's mistakes. I think they kind of waited for something bad to happen and then took advantage. I wasn't that convinced in how powerful, how good they could be. So I sat down with Dagda for another interview. This is our 6th of the day, and he's going to help set up the match between Koi and KC. We're almost there. 1 second. We're actually just beginning. We're going to be speaking to Skyart a little bit later on in the broadcast. I will give you guys an update if you are sitting on stream and on chat. The pre-show for both the Spanish broadcast and the English broadcast will begin at 4 o'clock. That's in 25 minutes. We will still be on air a little bit after that. The games will begin at 5. Make sure you tune in for the opening ceremony. You got to see a little sneak peek. And the Spanish casters and Spanish onstage crew are extremely excited. Now, I will say, the context for this interview, it is before Koi and KC takes the stage. I sat down with the LEC caster and very good friend, Dagda. It is my absolute pleasure to be reunited with Monsieur Price, Rob Price, Dagda, the man himself. It is a big intro because this is special for me to be able to do a professional interview again. Yeah. This time on the team side. Not at all chilling out on the G2 HopEUm podcast. No, but I explained it just before. We're sitting down before KC take on Koi. Let's talk about the series. What is the English broadcasting, English community expecting about the series? Because I've spoken to the Spaniards, and they're not the most unbiased of interviews.
Well, I think nobody really knows. Like, even if you talk to all the guys that are on stream, like, between, like, Finn has MCOI, he's, like, fully in on them. But a lot of people are saying KC as well. So I don't think people really know. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Do you know? Okay, so Finn's going Koi. Jack, do you know?
Jack,
ballpark?
I think was KC.
KC?
Yeah, Odo is KC, Betty's KC.
Okay.
I think I started off as KC.
Yeah.
And then this sounds really weird because they 3-0'd. I'm actually swinging now MCOI after yesterday.
Interesting.
Because everyone's like, oh yeah, well they 3-0'd and obviously they like.
But it's the way they 3-0'd that wasn't the most inspiring.
Yeah, because they lost the early games.
Yes.
And like, no offense to Giant X, but if Giant X were a better team,
yes,
they should have been able to clean at least 2 of those games.
I'll say this as well, just to give you a bit of peace of mind. Earlier on the show, we actually spoke to Quentin from the Koi. Quentin, I can't say his name. From the Koi co-stream. And they, as an entire Spanish-speaking broadcast, were very blunt and very direct. Like, Giant X are just not strong enough. They were the underdog in every way.
Yeah.
And the fact that in game 1 and 3, they had a real shot at winning, like, maybe a bit of a
No, seriously.
But like, they were in control, they had the opportunity to do so, right? So, I'm with you. It does sound like still leaning a bit KC. What is the arena going to be like? Because Friday wasn't the fullest, but it was loud as hell.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be even louder for Koi.
Yeah, I agree. So basically, I don't know if you've heard, but there's a big tech conference on at the moment.
Yes.
So price is shut up. I don't know what that has done, but it seems like it's basically priced some people out.
There's 2 parts to this as well. You can actually share this as well. So not only is there a big tech conference, there's a global launch for a Xiaomi product. The Xiaomi fan club are in my hotel, just by the way. You'll appreciate this. You'll appreciate this. The Xiaomi fan club are as dedicated as a EDG fan club and an RNG.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that crazy. Yeah.
For anyone watching, that's like uniforms, outfits, Alice bands, like for a,
you just
with all due respect, for a phone.
Yeah.
On top of that, there was also a massive train accident last month. Which is causing not only increased prices, but lower interest and comfort in traveling. So all these things are combined.
Yeah.
It still means that with like half capacity, they were loud.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be crazy. Like, I mean, you've got MKOI coming, right? So they are the main guys. They are the people that everyone's here to see. And especially that it's on a Saturday. I think it's just so much easier for people in the local area to come as well. So I think it's going to be crazy because like there was drums, there was batting, there was everything you could possibly think of. Yes.
They're actually outside preparing. I got to arrive to arena a little later than you did, and the Koi fan club is outside rehearsing their songs and getting their rhythm.
Oh, no
down.
way.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the arena. Let's talk about you. Zoom away. You've politely said you think Koi's going to win.
Yeah.
Not the strongest recommendation. What's it like being back in an arena? How fun is it?
Yeah, it's sick. I mean, there's no other feeling for it. Like, you get the energy, you get the crowd behind you. It feels great. And also just like you all end up kind of just feeding off each other because there's much more anticipation on the lead up to it. I mean, you know yourself,
Yes.
right? So it's lovely. It's really, really good. And especially because some of the road shows we did last year, the casters couldn't go to the actual arena. So being here this time is absolutely fantastic.
And of course, there's going to be a few more road shows throughout the year. There's also First Stand coming up in Brazil. When we look further ahead, I don't know how much you're watching LCK, LPL at the moment. I'm not.
Small bits, yeah.
I'm definitely not. Are we cooked? What's the general vibe? Because my co-streamers, I'll tell you this, Skyard from France, Greece from Italy, Solar from Germany, Sendo from Spain, and Pelters herself say we're cooked.
I don't feel like I'm in good company. Like, it's not that. Look, it's just like, I think fundamentally they understand the game at a significantly higher level. And it's just the way that they set up around objectives, understanding how to get like waves into positions, how they can use certain picks to their full extent as well. Like, we kind of copy and mimic them, but they are the ones. Like, Chovy just built Proto Belt and the entire world is like, I have to build Proto Belt now. Like, that's the power that this man has. And we're like, oh yeah, we've got a chance. No, we only
wish there was more creative thinking around item builds and like actually understanding, not creative thinking, but understanding as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's the problem is like, if you want to be creative, you have to understand the rules to understand how to play with them. And I think, unfortunately, at the moment, we just don't quite get that. And I think we will in time. I think a lot of our top teams are getting better, which is why we saw the break between like Giant X versus KC and MKOI and G2. And I think exposure at these like big events and international events does help massively. Because you can see like all of last year, MKOI spent the majority of the year working on 131. Now it's like, oh, Miran, sorry, but you're on tanks. We're playing through Super. Like, they are structurally and fundamentally trying to research and understand the game at a better level, and then having all these tools in their arsenal.
I'll tell you something very quickly as we start to wrap this up. I know you've got rehearsal, I know you've got makeup, I know you've got to carry on with the show, but two little tidbits. In speaking to Quentin and the Koi guys, Mirwin lives apparently just a few blocks from here.
Oh, wow.
By the way. So he said to me that yes, Koi's going to have a lot of fan base, but like Mirwin's going to be like big.
That's cool. Yeah.
Secondly, I want to get your opinion on who you think is going to win tomorrow. Let's say G2 Koi. Before we do though, I got to speak to Broken Plate. I got to speak to Skewmont, and I directly said, "Why did you guys suck in the regular season?" They gave me a lame excuse, but they both said to me that not only are they playing well and they're in a good spot, they both grinned and said they want KC to win because they want revenge against KC. They were like,
makes sense.
we've already smashed Koi, they're like, we've done it. Casey, but like they had an evil smirk in their face. They've got something cooked. So let's say if either of them go through, do either of them have a chance against G2?
I mean, I think it is definitely a very close matchup, but like, not just because I'm sitting here with you. I think G2 eked it out. It's just Caps, man.
Yeah.
Like, the man is insane. Like, he steps. It's like, even over the course of the split, we've been saying it a lot backstage, is like, stupid things like the Orianna Zir matchup. You give Caps Orianna, and that matchup looks unplayable, but every other mid laner is kind of like, oh yeah, I'll get like a 5-6 CS lead. There's just something about that man. And then Skewmont looks like a demon. And even Broken Plate broke the record for the most damage.
The English, the co-streamers on G2 side have been trying to find a way. They're like Skew Goat, Mod Skew Goat, Skew Mongoat, Goat Skew, Goat Mond, and I was like, guys, we need to just stop saying Goat. So it's also shared by all of the other languages, just so that. I'm going to say thank you. Are you going to First Stand yet? Do you know?
I'm not going to be at First Stand. Okay. Well, it's just a smaller event, so it's approved.
Well, then we'll maybe do something on stream together. We'll see if it goes. Might cut that from the ending. Where's the thank you? I love you.
It was a pleasure, man.
Have fun today. Back to the show. That was very special for me, very, very special for me. Obviously, I got to cast with Dagda quite a bit, and we are quite good friends. So that was a lovely, lovely conversation. I'm intrigued to see how cooked Europe is going to be at first stand. Either Karmine Corp or G2 will be representing us in just 2 weeks' time down in Brazil. Now, as we've turned our attention to Koi versus KC, I got the preamble. We're going to be getting a deep dive from Keltis in a few minutes' time. Let me set this up first. Then we're going to hear from Captain Romar, and then I'm actually going to speak to Skyart and get his predictions before the final. We are building up towards the pre-show. Both English and Spanish start at 4. The games will be kicking off at 5. And for everybody that is asking in chat, unfortunately, Brice and I had a little bit of a miscommunication. I've seen a lot of people asking, where's Brice? Where's Brice? He's not going to be joining today's episode. I promise, I'll make a plan to get him on the one for first stand that we're planning in just a couple of weeks' time. Okay, so do you want to know kind of the energy and the vibe and sort of how it feels inside the arena for an MKOI versus KC? Our very next video package is going to be the 7th of the day. Is going to be the second last game. Just as Picks and Bans is finishing, I wanted to try set up a little bit of hype and intro, get a feel for how things are. So let's dive into yesterday's Game 4 draft. This is 2-1 in favor of Koi versus KC, and what could be the last game of Saturday's series. Koi on the verge, qualifying for the finals, qualifying for a shot to face G2, and I just want you to hear this noise. Just listen to the crowd, right? Picks and Bans is in. Now we are going to keep an eye on whether or not KC can win. It has looked like that they can, but they are fighting against this entire crowd. They are fighting against the entirety of Barcelona because they got booed so heavily earlier today, and now their backs are against the wall. Now, as we're loading up onto the Rift, it's the last 30 seconds. Almost every single one of my co-streamers has predicted Koi to win. A lot of the team here on the ground were expecting Koi to win. So KC, can they turn it around? How about we listen to that crowd and enjoy it? We'll load onto the Rift for the final game. That's not my fault. I tried really hard. We're going to try this one more time, okay? So, what could be the last game of Saturday's series? How about we load up onto the Rift? And how about we wait for KC to get yelled at? Let's go this time! Nailed it! Back to me! Somebody had clipped that. Somebody had clipped that. My timing was so off. But it's not my fault. Listen, I was watching, okay? Production team, they were busy filming. I don't know if you can see it. They were filming the coaches and the analysts and staff walking off stage. And I'm like, guys, come on, I've just set up this hype. Obviously, it's not my show, it's their show. But I loved it. I'm having a ton of fun. And this does bring us to the game. Now, it ended up being a 5-game series. That Game 4, KC did end up winning, and I want to take a deep dive into the series. Now, as you all know, I'm not the most intelligent League of Legends analyst. I'm more of a facilitator. I like to ask questions. I like to speak to intelligent people. And as this HopEUm broadcast is primarily built by the army of G2 co-streamers, my very first co-streamer of the day is going to help me understand exactly how KC took down Koi. So we're going to turn our attention to Keltis. She's still in Korea. She will be broadcasting the finals just a little bit later today, but she got up early this morning, sat down with me to record her thoughts and feelings on exactly how KC won that series. So Keltis, over to you. Every time I start an episode of this podcast, I start it with good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is actually a real time I get to say, good evening, Keltis. It is morning time where I am. How are you today?
Good evening as well. I'm very good, thank you.
Are you excited for the finals? I mean, is it what you were expecting to happen?
Well, I predicted it was going to be a Koi G2 final, but I'm not really surprised that it's KC G2.
I mean, I'll say this, in all of the predictions, pretty much everybody was like a 3-2, like most of the conversation, and like nobody was super strong. Only Brice and Skyart actually predicted KC to win. Before we get to the final, Let's go all the way back to Friday. You're joining us on today's episode after we've already spoken to Broken Blade and Skumont. We've spoken to Lot. I've got all their takes on how the GX series played out. But I want to know from your perspective, what did you think of Casey's 3-0? And did you think Casey looked good or Ginex looked weak? How do you balance it?
I mean, I'm gonna say in general, most of Casey games just looks like they are pretty stable and they're not making too many mistakes, while the opposite team is making a lot of mistakes and they just win off that pretty much.
I mean, did you think Ginex actually had a chance to win? From my eyes, bearing in mind I'm gold, game 1 and game 3, I thought Ginex had generated like a decent enough leads, and it kind of felt like they just whiffed later on. Is that fair? Do you think that math like kind of checks out?
Oh, to put it bluntly, I would just say GX as a team, they're just not good enough. I expected GX to win one game because the games they win, Noah carries. And I thought maybe Noah can carry at least one game in this series, and he almost did it in that game 3, but they fell a bit short.
Yeah, unfortunately so. I mean, look, I actually got to speak to Lot, as I mentioned, and I asked them about being the underdogs. Pretty much anybody. I got to speak to the Koi broadcasters. They said that GX were the heavy underdogs. They are just a worse team. It's a bit harsh to say, but I think it's fair. Did your opinion of Karmine Corp change? Because when we spoke to Dagda earlier, he said that coming into the weekend, he was leaning towards Karmine Corp, saying they should make the final. Then he watched the series and he was like, no, Koi's going to beat them.
And to be honest, seeing KC in playoffs versus during the split, they have been a bit shaky, and I think a lot of people have changed their opinions on, the playoffs predictions after seeing them play. Me included.
I'm gonna speak to Skyart after this, and I'm gonna see what he says because he predicted KC, and I want to ask him how nervous he was. Let's talk about KC beating Koi yesterday. It went the full 5 games. You and I both predicted Koi, along with Sola, Sendo, and when I take a look at the 5 games, back and forth, Koi win, KC win, Koi win, KC win. Let's start games 1 through 4. What did you make of how the series started and how both teams played?
Oh, I mean, honestly, Koi had their good moments. I feel like a lot of these games were very draft heavy in terms of results. But in the end, KC still just played more solid, and I think Koi made too many mistakes. It wasn't really KC playing amazing, except maybe a few
5?
plays.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly
Okay,
just punishing.
So then, give me some insight. Then let's take a look at the picks and bans. I've got all 5 drafts. If you said it was quite draft dependent, do you have some examples that you can help me understand and everybody watching at home?
Yeah, like first off, if I look at the second game, I see
Okay.
Koi with their only frontline being Xin Sao, and he's
I'm
playing
actually gonna
Xin
go to.
Sao against a Rice.
Okay. Yeah.
And a Wukong, like multiple champions that can actually, mess him up a bit. They also
I mean,
have a pretty favorable bot
2011,
matchup on KC.
902. So you don't like the Yunara Lulu into Ash Seraphine? Tell me why.
I mean, in theory, it can work if you get to scale past level 6 and past
Yeah.
one item. But I mean, we all saw what Kyoho did this game.
Yeah.
Bot was not
Yeah.
a 2v2, and this bot matchup for Koi is already pretty hard in early game. I mean, we could see it. They were under turret, very low HP most of the game. It's
I
quite
mean, also, by
quite
the time we
risky.
got to 8 minutes, Kel's 2,000 gold down, and that's with kind of the scaling comp, so it falls apart. Was there another draft that kind of caught your eye? And actually, let's jump back. Is this something that you think is a good thing from KC or a bad thing from Koi? Because KC opened with first pick Rise. The response was Yunara Lulu. Then they
I
went
was
Ash Seraphine.
quite surprised.
It just felt to me
I
like
mean,
KC just had all the pieces, right?
They did, but also I have to give, the players some credit. Like, Yahoo is a very strong laner. He surprised me a lot that he matches most mid laners in LEC, even though he didn't have great results in LCK. So when I see him face Yo-Yo, like Yo-Yo is pretty known for being a good laner. But when you match Yo-Yo against Caps or Yahoo, the games change a lot. And I think this game, Yahoo just completely gapped him through lane. He got all the roams off that he wanted, and the game just mega snowballed from that.
I saw some memes that apparently there was jokes being given around of like, hey, somebody on the Koi team should have given like some chamomile tea to Jojo to be like, just chill, just stay away from Yahoo. It's not working well. Okay, let's talk about Game 5. Game 5 opens up the last pick Kha'Zix. 25-minute Giga Stomp. I remember the tower dive where Kalista and Busio under the bottom tower, they go with the regen from Busio, then the ult from Kha'Zix gets him. I mean, masterclass, but I didn't think it was going to happen when I saw draft. What did you think of not only the draft and how the game played?
I mean, KC bot, they performed it very well, but I also felt like it was very similar to Game 2 draft, where you give them 2 bot lane 2v2s, where KC bot is very, very favorable in the early game, and Koi just have to survive to like level 6 or 1 item, and they failed to do that again. At the same time, I think blind picking Gwen jungle against Yike is just disrespectful.
Yep. I mean, I really liked the English broadcast was talking a lot about Yike and his Kha'Zix and how legendary has been even prior to joining G2 when he played at LDLC. It's kind of a signature pick. I personally don't like Yone. I just don't think European teams can pull it off. I mean, look, it's only 0-2, right? But I just don't like what I'm seeing from that pick. I will quickly, while we've got the stats up, let's just quickly go take a look at Yike. Let's go all time. I just want to see what his Kha'Zix actually is. 18 games with an 83% win rate. I mean, that is wild. Okay.
That's crazy.
KC win 3-2. They win in game 5. Both of us a little bit of egg on our face because we expected Koi to win. What does that do for finals? I think we both predicted a 3. I think you went 3-1 to Koi. I said 3-0 against Koi. I'm going to say 3-1 against KC today. Still in favor of G2. What's your prediction?
I will also say 3-1 to G2, honestly. Like, yeah, KC are solid, but G2 in playoffs have been making like very minimum amount of mistakes compared to the regular season. And seeing how KC just punishes mistakes usually, their gameplay will maybe suffer a bit. But yeah, I hope we see some spicy drafts. Like, I hope G2 will not give them the perfect Kha'Zix angle.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I will sure you can hear the music in the background. That does mean rehearsals are going on. So Kaltis, I'm going to say thank you so much. We're going to get ready for the show. Please do enjoy the co-stream and let's go G2.
Yep, G2 win. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you later, Kaltis. Back to me.
Massive thank you to Keltis sharing her perspective all the way from Korea. She's absolutely dominating solo queue over there. And I really like her in-depth conversations. I think specifically, one of the key takeaways that I definitely will be looking at today is the fact that KC are a team that punish mistakes. They did it on Friday. It's a big reason as to why they won that Game 3 against GX. If you've been watching the whole time, we looked at that gold graph. We spoke to Kenton, and it was the same trend. It's part of the reason that they're able to pick up wins yesterday against MKOI. Now, if G2 can play clean today, then maybe there'll be a chance. So I figured, now that we know the finals, now that we know it is KC taking on G2, this is one of my favorite interviews of the entire day, and it is the last one that we'll run, because immediately afterwards, I'm going to say hello to Skyart and we'll discuss the finals. For now, how about I introduce to you our 9th video with Caps and Ramar, fresh from the spa.
We are just before the finals, where G2 Esports will be facing off against Karmine Corp. Now, first of all, how many of the games did you watch today? I know you were scrimming, I know you were practicing.
No, we were at the spa, actually. That's why we were still in bathrobe.
So you didn't watch any games then?
Oh, there were games today. Completely forgot. Nah, we were screaming. We were screaming this whole afternoon, obviously, and we watched the game, obviously. And 5 games are good for us. A lot of info. I expect my opponents to be tired. Always good, taking any kind of lead we can. And we are really looking forward to play them as a rematch from last year's final.
Now, I'll tell you this, Caps. I got to speak to BB and Skumond, and I asked them who would they rather play. Would they rather play KC or Koi? And they both didn't even hesitate and said KC. It's like, we've got revenge against Koi already. Who would you have rather played, and do you agree with them?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I really had a preference. I think both. I mean, we actually played against both of them already in playoffs, so went well so far. Of course, they're gonna come in for some revenge tomorrow, and we're excited to play against Casey for sure.
I got to ask you specifically. I called out Broken Blades Leeson. I said it was terrible from regular season. I asked him and Skumond why things were so tough, but you've been the shining light the entire year. Every broadcast, every language is praising your play. How are you feeling in 2026?
Well, thank you. I mean, definitely a bit of a tough regular season. I think the best of one fearless was not helping out for us as well. But yeah, I think we had a lot of things that we wanted to like improve on from Worlds, and I think maybe when you're practicing a lot of things you're like not so good at, it can like hurt the play in the short term. But I do think it's like for the better for the long term. And I think now that we're in playoffs and we can really like start preparing for our opponents and we just want to show up on the days, I think it's looking a lot better.
Roma, we got to speak yesterday after the games, and I was praising, after seeing the games, I was praising how the boys are playing in playoffs. BB and Skumon could not have sounded more comfortable but confident. There was no cockiness, right?
Good.
Hearing Caps talking, reflecting. How do you feel when I tell you this, that all of the co-streamers who, they're partnered with G2, they're not part of G2, Skyot, Breeze, Solar, Sendo, every single one of them tell me that their viewers and their fan bases, first of all, think Caps is just the go-to 2026, number one. But number two, that's always what they expected. They just believe the team's going to step up. How do you feel when you hear that?
It's good, but it's always a privilege to play a final, and it's always a privilege to be able to go that far in any kind of tournament. You have to earn your way there, and as Caps was saying, the best of one fearless was not the happiest for us. So we accelerated at the right timing. We are now playing a final. And we've learned in the past, I mean, I've been working with Caps many years, right?
A long time now.
At one point of his career, he was like, I've never lost a single final in Europe. You remember this one? I've never lost a single one. We go versus Rogue 0-3 on stage. Fucking Malmo, you know, I'm still PTSD from it. And then we evolve, you know, so we saw everything. We saw not going to final, we saw going to finals, lower bracket, winner bracket, losing a final, winning a final. So we have to stay in the present. We take it day by day. And tomorrow is going to be a good day where we're going to showcase the best League of Legends possible. Do we win? Do we lose? That's an answer for tomorrow evening.
There's a lot of expectation that you're going to win. Let's quickly talk about the opponents, okay? I'm not asking for predictions, like anticipations, because I just want to ask now, coming into the stadium today, I have not heard that many boos for a team in a long time. KC got destroyed. Now, I was expecting that for you tomorrow. However, with KC winning, do you think you're going to be the crowd's favorites?
Yeah.
Yes.
The French versus Spain rivalry goes mild, you know, and the kickoff fan can be really strong in their position.
Yes.
And they have booed every single guy, every single non-KC player.
Yeah.
Faker, God himself was booed by KC, you know. So they don't care. And in return, you can expect the rest of Europe to boo every single KC player they're going to see. So I expect the Spanish fan to want us to take revenge for them.
Okay.
So I think they will be pro G2 tomorrow. But let's see, you know.
That's what I want to hear. Two more questions before we start to wrap this up. Would you have preferred to shut the crowd up yourself tomorrow, or are you happier that they're most likely going to be cheering for you?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I think it would be fun if they cheer for us, because I'm hoping for some good plays, and the plays always get better when you get like the crazy crowd going wild after.
Can I tell you something for everyone watching? Earlier in the episode, BB and Skumond had the same cheeky smile that they've both just given me. Something is being cooked. I won't ask them what it is, but something's being cooked. Right, last questions. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of expectation based on what we've seen. I think fans are going to be favoring you to win. If that happens, you get to go to first stands. How do you think either you or KC will do at first stand against international opponents?
I mean, it's always hard to like judge international performance. I think we've been struggling a bit less as Europe, but I do think we took some good things away from Worlds especially. And I mean, I don't want to speak on behalf of like if Casey makes it, but I think if we make it, I definitely think we can make it far. And I think. Yeah, I mean, I hope we get to play against some Korean teams as well, because that will be.
I mean, we know which two are going to be there. By the time we're airing this, we'll know who's number 1 seed, who's number 2 seed.
Yeah.
Same question. EU, I've heard a lot of my co-streamers and community saying Europe is cooked. But that was before they saw how good you guys were in rounds 1 and 2 and 3.
Europe is cooked. We're awful. Nothing's going to happen. Do not count on us. Do not cheer too hard for us.
Say to the camera.
Do not put any expectations. Forget about us. Just focus on the obvious winners and let's cook. You know, that's all I'm going to say.
See, it's that smile again. It's that smile. We're going to head back. That does it for these two. Let's see what happens in the final.
Are they cooking? Are they cooking? That's the question. Somebody did say in chat, who's the Sibelius Hank, when will we get a G2 bathrobe? Listen, I'm a big fan. I love the G2 merch. You can check out G2 shop. I would love to see a bathrobe. I'd love to see what happens. Fans are starting to pour into the arena. The pre-shows for both Spain. The pre-show for English has definitely started. Spain will be in just a little bit of time. And to get us ready for the final, now that we've covered all the days, we've covered all the matches, I think I need to speak to somebody live, one of our co-streamers. How about one of the only people who predicted KC to be here, Skyart? Welcome to the show. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello, Quick. Thank you for bringing me into the show. I'm very happy, actually, to hear you. I can't wait to this final. I mean, G2 KC was, for me, the final. Actually, I was a bit surprised yesterday. I feel like both teams, personally, could have done a bit better in the draft and in the game. Some mistakes, I mean, it's top teams, basically. So when you make mistakes, you can fall behind very quickly.
What mistakes stood out to you? Because I thought that the way KC punished Giant X's mistakes on Friday was very good. I think they played quite reactive, at least most of the time. I think it's kind of true against Koi, but what were the mistakes that stood out to you that could be a problem today?
For me, for example, I believe draft 1 was actually better for Koi. I think the Koi draft against Karmine Corp was, for me, an easier draft to play. And right now, we will talk maybe a bit later, but LCK, for me, is the perfect draft. They take Varus Pantheon, but I believe if you don't have a very good lead, you can fall behind actually pretty quickly. Sivir for me is S tier. I think Sivir is actually an amazing champion. It's very easy to just go for 3 items and just win. So if you don't fall behind too much in early game, then I think champions like Sivir are going to be very important for this final G2 against KC. So
yeah, I mean, look at this. Look, I'm showing the gold graph to our viewers at home. 2,000 gold lead was the only thing that Karmine Corp was able to generate, and then Sivir things just happened. You know, I want to ask your opinion. Game 5. Talk to me about the draft and what your opinion was on KC pulling out a Kali Kha'Zix.
I think I don't really like Kha'Zix personally normally, but I think Gwen Jungle is, for me, an amazing bad choice. I don't really like. I used to play Gwen in jungle a lot, but I think it's way better in solo lanes. And they tried to pick. I think they first pick actually Lucian, and I believe it's probably a mistake. I think that they should have gone another way, and they pick Akali to face the Gwen. But I think even if it's a negative matchup for Mirin, I think Gwen top will still be a Gwen top. But here, Gwen jungle, when his lane are a bit behind, he just can't play the game anymore. And he got stolen Raptor like 150 times. I think he will call 911. But the thing is, you can't go late game if you can't just clear the jungle. So I think there are some mistakes from both sides. I didn't really like that against they pick Ash Seraphine, and to me Zeri Yumi is a very good answer, but I think Yuna Lulu is okay, but they have to play better, especially HopEUm. I think HopEUm played pretty poorly yesterday. He got gapped every single game by Yehu. And the second game, just tell me the reason why you don't ban Azir. For me, Azir is probably maybe the best champion in the game right now. You have to pick it. I think you have to pick Azir. You have to pick Ryze. When you let Ryze, you can't just say, okay, I will let Ryze and I will pick Aurora. No, I think it's shit, to be fair.
Listen,
for
I want to see how this plays out today. Obviously for everybody who is taking a look, everybody who's looking at the picks and bans right now, we are busy focusing on exactly what it is that the teams have done right and done wrong. I really, really like your insight, Skyart, because I think picks and bans has been something that has been incredibly, maybe controversial, maybe important, you know?
Of course.
We talked a lot about how G2's incredible run throughout playoffs up to this point. They are 7-0. Okay, they've played 7 games. The fact that KC played Friday and Saturday, they've played 15 games. Twice as many. The question I ask you as we now turn our attention to today, playing double the games, playing on this stage, does this help KC? Do you think they're going to have more data, or do you think the mistakes are deeper than that?
No, I think it's actually, for me, a bad thing, because you will have to show your cards. When you are faced to the wall, it's do or die, so you will do your best to pick your best champions. And it's fearless, basically. So the more you have less choice, the more you have to adapt. And I believe it will be profitable for G2 if they prepare well. I think they need to pick Ryze. I think you need to forget about Anivia against Ryze. I think they should pick Anivia. They picked, Yunara Lulu, and they didn't pick Anivia. They picked Xin. I think Xin, you don't give a... I think it's not that important, to be fair, because even if it gets banned, you will still have junglers in second game. So, I think Ashe Seraphine gonna play a big role today, and I believe they need to play or think about Yuumi Zeri. I think Sivir gonna be very strong. So Gwen top, Ryze mid, Sivir, Zeri, Yuumi against Ashe Seraphine. All these champions, I think, gonna be very important today for the draft. The
question I'm going to be intrigued to see. Earlier on in the show, we got to speak to Broken Blade and Skumont, got to speak to Caps and Ramar.
Okay, amazing.
And all 4 of them had a very cheeky grin. All 4 of them had this vibe where they basically said the following. The fact that they've seen KC play 8 games already is tons of information. The fact that they had to go all the way down to game 5 against Koi, and you see their champion priorities, because we know that as Fearless Draft begins to impact, game 4, game 5, finding good initiation tends to be one of the big problems to solve. And I think it was an interesting angle that KC went, right, let's just go Assassin, screw traditional engage, let's just kill them, and they did it. We don't have that data for G2. We don't have that data. They've played 3 or 4 champions really, mostly. They haven't been pushed at all. So I'm intrigued. They haven't got the stage practice, but I know they've got the scrim practice. So where their priorities lie is going to be a big influence on today's series.
Yes, and I believe game 5, Go Assassin is, you show confidence, but the thing is, confidence don't make you win. I think Gwen Jungle was also a very big problem, because basically just Ayoya could not play. He played very well Kiana. I think his Kiana was amazing. And the champion is, to me, not easy to play. Maybe some people will disagree about this. But the thing is, when you can't play, you are just behind. For example, they picked Malphite. I think Malphite jungle is a bit overrated. I think if he picked Mundo and went up, I think it was 3-1 for Koi. And I wouldn't have him be here with the prediction. So thank you, Marcel, for going for Poppy and not shit in the jungle.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and I mean this sincerely for everybody watching and listening, right? I asked all of our co-streamers to give me the entire weekend's predictions before the games began. I said, who wins Friday? Then tell me who wins Saturday. Then tell me who wins on Sunday. Now, going into that, Brice and yourself, Sky, were the only 2 people that predicted KC would win yesterday. Okay. But both of you still say G2 won today. Now, that was on Thursday, okay? So I'm going to ask all of the Twitch chats. I want everybody that's streaming, type in Twitch chat what the score will be. KC G2, who's going to win, and what the score will be. Because, Skyart, I'm going to give you the opportunity now. Do you want to flip-flop? Do you think KC have a chance? Are you going to stick with your original prediction? Who wins today with what score?
I will stick to my prediction, to be fair. I think what's mattered the most is, will Zeph adapt from yesterday about the draft? I think he should a bit correct the draft, but I'm not sure about Dylan Falco as well about the draft, because Dylan Falco played Lee Sin top. I mean, he went for Lee Sin top. I think it's against KC, so it's risky. I mean, the draft are pretty much unstable, but I think if with equal draft, I think G2 wins. I think G2 had a better macro game in the game. We saw Casey did some mistake. For example, Calist made some mistake. Varustop from Kana, I think he wasn't really prepared for it. And I believe Varustop, it was pretty bad. I think Jarvan also is very, very strong. I think Jarvan is, for me, a bit stronger than Xin and maybe Pantheon for me as well. Because, yes, you can't play side lane as much, but I think in team fighting, you can just buffer stuff. You can ulti a Varus and he can play. Oh, wow. When he has no flash, he can go out. I mean, the champion is... I ban this shit in my solo queue games. I don't want to play against this shit champion. It's so annoying. So,
oh, that's amazing.
Yes. So I hope it's going to be an amazing final. I hope 3-1 for G2, I think. 3-1, 3-2 for G2. But I think if they played bad drafts, it's going to be tough. So please, Dylan Falco, pick Rise. Don't let Rise to KC.
I'm telling you this now. I'm looking at both of the chats here. Pretty much everyone's in agreement with G2. There's the odd KC 3-1 score prediction, which I'm not so sure about. Okay, I know you've got a pre-show to get ready for yourself. You've got a co-stream. Before we do, I know that you co-streamed the LCK final. So just before we talk about how they played out, can I show everybody at home the first stand competitors and how this is going to affect things? Because we already know the two teams from the LCK that will be advancing. It is going to be Genji and BNK. And of course, whoever wins today will be advancing. And you can see the rest of the teams on your screen. Now, the reason that I just wanted to show this as a reminder, we will be doing a HopEUm episode just before first stand begins. And as we jump back, tell me about the final. Obviously, BNK FearX, massive underdogs. I mean, I don't want to say it's a surprise that they made it here because they definitely earned it on stage. They're playing in Hong Kong as well. But it was a quick morning stream for you, I imagine.
To be fair, I was expecting to be quick. Let's be honest. FearX did play very well. I think I was very impressed about Raptor, the jungler of FearX. Everyone speak about Diable. Diable is very good, but I think Raptor is an amazing jungler. His decision making is very good, and he has basically 3 losing lanes. So. You don't want to be at his position. It's just horrible to watch. But the thing is, it does amazing choice, and I think it's very good. The thing is, for me, the biggest problem today was the drafts. I think Genji's draft, Ryu, came in super form. I think the drafter won the series. I think they would have won against T1 with the same exact draft on both sides. I think T1 would have lost. So I would have loved Genji T1, obviously. Because I'm a Fraker fan. The thing is...
give me a second. Let's take a look at these drops. Let's take a look at these drops. What I'd love for you to do, Skyart, I'm going to bring up all 3 of the games drafts. Maybe simplify it for some of our viewers and for me as well. What is it that you loved about the draft? And let's just briefly explain it before we go.
Okay, first draft, for example, I love they first pick Rise, and I think it was pretty much unexpected. Then, I mean, it wasn't expected. No, it wasn't. But then they trade Varus against and Pantheon. I think people estimate Varus a bit higher than Rise in Europe, but I believe it's a good trade because what can stop Rise? I think only one thing can stop Rise, a fucking ban. So then it was already for me a winning trade. And then they went for Gwen and Jarvan. And I believe Jarvan is a very good answer. Varus is immobile champion and Gwen for me is OP. I mean, when you pick Gwen top, your chance of winning increased by 5%. And then they picked Talia. Okay, because I want a Pantheon Talia combo. Okay, fine for me. But then they didn't ban top laners. I mean, Kin just tell to the world, I can play Gwen into any matchup. I will win. Whatever it takes, I will win. And then they went for Gnar. Okay, Gnar is fine. I mean, yesterday, if you remember correctly, Koi picked Gnar, and they could pick... it's fine. You don't have to show it, but...
Okay, got
it. They picked Gnar, KC, and they could went for Gwen top, but they didn't. But here they pick Sivir and Bard, and Sivir to me is a very good answer against Varus. You just shove the wave. They ban Nico. They don't have the push, and the game will go to 25 minutes. And at 25 minutes, how do you win the game? It's just impossible for me. Gwen will go on Varus, And you know what? Vari's gonna melt. Even his fifth ruler. I think if G2 wants to win against Genji, they have to pick these champions. I mean, this composition. I think scaling champions that are insanely good at draft, even if they are behind 500 gold in lane, I think it doesn't matter. It will not change the game. They will do first Drake. Okay, bro, take first Drake. They will do maybe second Drake. Not sure, because Javon will gun bots, and Javon has no flash. Oh, he dies. 40 seconds before Drake. Oh, Drake is lost. Oh, it's 1-1.
You know what I love so much? What I love so much is the sentence, in order for G2 to play against Genji, this is what they need to do. I love it. We're predicting a G2 win. We're about to watch them on stage. I just have one last question, Sky. One last question. I'm sure you were watching and listening. This Barcelona crowd was very much against supporting KC. Now, with them defeating Koi, are they going to be even more of the villains today? Because I assume the crowd's going to be behind G2.
Yeah, I believe the crowd going to be behind G2 because, you know, Spain and French, there are some rivalities. And G2 is basically worldwide. If you are a European player, you have G2 fans. I mean, G2 is just worldwide, and Koi KC is a competition. But I think it's sportsman, you know, it's sportsmanship. If they were playing in France, I'm pretty sure most of the French crowd and KC fans were not cheering for Koi. So so I think it's fair, and I think players doesn't care. I used to play tournaments on which the crowd was against me, and to be honest, I was just wanting to destroy their hopes. So when it's like this, you just become even stronger. So I hope you enjoy the show, Quickshot.
It's going to be amazing. Au revoir. Thank you so much, Sky. I really appreciate you dialing in. I'll tell you, by the way, you came second in the prediction game. I won. I will admit I cheat a little bit because I see everyone else's predictions and I play. So you are the actual winner. You got the most correct predictions. But congratulations.
You said I predicted GX against G2.
I know. I was wrong. I got the wrong name.
I know.
You got the right points.
Even worse.
You got the right points. Sky, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say goodbye.
You're the best. You're the best. You're the best. Kiss, bro. And Casey is strong, but G2 is better. Ciao.
Ciao, Skyart. Now, we are moments away from wrapping up our live from Barcelona LEC Versus Finals special. As with every HopEUm episode, the very last thing that I need to do is our Winamaxing predictions game. I mentioned it. I technically got the most points for followed by Keltis. You might notice the only other two people who appeared on my show today was Skyart and Keltis. No, that has nothing to do with it. It was scheduling and planning. Thank you so much to Winamax for helping us put this together. And I will admit, thank you, that is the correct decision. I technically get everyone else's votes, and then I make a decision on how I want to play the game. So I probably should be disqualified. I'll say Skyart wins. I'll say that Keltis is the one that gets the information. So congratulations to them. Thank you to everybody that has watched the show. I really appreciate it. I'm still trying to get the word out there about HopEUm. So if you did enjoy the interviews, please let people know. Please share the word. We will be back for First Stand. It won't be a Tuesday. It'll be another special edition, much like this one. We'll have all of our conversations. I'll even bring in some guests to talk about the LCK and the LPL. My name has been Quickshot. We are live at the Olympic Arena. I'm going to say goodbye because Sendo will be sitting down to take over the station for his co-stream. Skyart is co-streaming in French. Solar will be co-streaming in German. Brice in Italian and Keltis in English. On behalf of G2, all of us, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode of HopEUm.